drag racing fan, Between the Slicks, live with yours truly, the Monday Morning Racer, right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform, streaming to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. But don't forget about I'm on Instagram as well. It's good to have each and every one of you hit that like button for me, hit the share button for me, and dive into that comment section on what? Drag racing, which is what we talk about right here on Between the Slicks. So tonight, very interesting show. A show that I think really shows off what I intended this show to be and what I want it to be. Do I want to have occasionally the biggest names in the sport on Between the Slicks? Yes, I do. But I want to be able to tell the stories of individuals that we should hear about, but we're probably not going to hear about on bigger platforms. And I think one of those individuals in my travels that I have had going on the NHRA Camping World Tour is this man, John Charbonneau. Yes, that's how you pronounce his last name, Charbonneau. He hails out of the Northeast, and he is a long-time NHRA drag racing fan. I would go so far to say, yes, as I've got it titled there, super fan. And why is that? That's because this man, the last time in which I had an in-depth conversation with him and actually interviewed him very briefly at the last Arizona Nationals, he had been to over 400 NHRA national events. And he's not just a fan of NHRA drag racing. He was last year at the Funny Car Classic for Funny Car Chaos, the big funny car race there at the Texas Motorplex. So he loves drag racing. He is a super fan of it. And he has also documented the sport by being an amateur photographer. And he really is more than an amateur photographer. He's a great photographer in his own right. So we're going to be taking a look at some of his photos and getting his story on why drag racing and why he's become so enthusiastic about it, and look at it from a different perspective beyond driver, crew member, promoter, sponsor, and just have a chat with a fan. And I think that's going to make for a very cool episode. We might only have him for about 15, 20 minutes. He did have some hip surgery recently, and physical therapy really worked on him today. But for the time that we will have him, I definitely believe it's going to be a great conversation. Let me dive into the comment section really quick. Pat says, good to see you. Great to have you watching, Pat. Mike says, good evening, Lee. Great to see Austin got his ride back. Should be a great year. Yes, we'll definitely talk about that. Good to see that. Drag Racing Central, MMR, DRC. Good to have you on. Darren Williams Jr. Yo, man. Good to have you watching along as well. And Carl Claymore chimes in, just a blessing for the Sega Racing homegrown team as we have lost Ron Hall. Yes, that did happen. There is a loss in the Sega family. Ron Hall did pass away, and you all folks pray for the Hall family. Please do that in the Sega family. John chimes in and says, hey, MMR, hello, John. Ricky Hollywood, Rick Kopp. We had him on the show, actually. That's in the archives. Bone Shaker Jet Truck. Thank you for watching, man. And guys, with that being said, you can watch that episode on YouTube, which would be a big help to me, or you can also listen to the podcast version of this, which is simply an upload afterwards. But there is a podcast version, and I am slowly getting it updated. I think I got the 50th episode uploaded recently. So we're getting there. Hopefully by the next 2-3 weeks, we will have it fully updated. We'll be good to go, and you can hear archived podcasts of Between the Slicks. But Rick's Rick's interview is up there. Tom Sands, Austin Prock is back, baby. I agree with those sentiments. He is. We'll talk about that in a few moments. Terry, hey, Mom. Good to see you, Mom. Says, hey, Lee. Folks, let me dive into like what I'm wearing. So shout out to the guys at Red Shirt Friday. What is Red Shirt Friday all about? Well, they are a group that sells apparel, very cool, patriotic apparel. Obviously, it's a red shirt and some cool hats. Like I like the shield with the Americana in it, and it is all about wear red on Friday to remember veterans and to respect those that are deployed. And they have involvement in drag racing with a great independent funny car owner, operator, driver out there, Alex Miladinovic, who has been on Between the Slicks in the past. Well, you can see there on the back, that's Red Shirt Friday, and also on the injector with the butterflies RSF with the shield. And I just want to wear on the show today. It may not be Friday, but I just wanted to wear on the show, showcase guys. Go check out redshirtfriday.com, buy some apparel. They are a charity. They give back to veteran charities out of the proceeds. They just want to keep people mindful of veterans. If you're a veteran watching, thank you. Doesn't have to be Veterans Day to say thank you, but thank you for your service. And let's all, as they even say on their website, I like what they said, let's put all the politics aside, no matter whether you're left or right. Let's honor and respect our veterans and those that are deployed. So Red Shirt Friday, thank you for hooking me up with the swag. All of you out there, go check out redshirtfriday.com and pick yourself up a tee. I was looking earlier today, and there were some designs that I liked. I might even pick up some more for myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back from this break, we are going to dive into the news in the world of drag racing. A lot of it, a lot of heavy news, and we are going to look at it. This word from Power Built Tools. Power Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase. All right, let's begin the news with this very comment from David W. Pike Jr. 60 pro mods at Braden Motorsports Park this weekend. The U.S. Streetcar Nationals kicking off the 2022 drag racing season. It never really ends. It just goes to Florida, especially for the door slammers. And defending champion of that race, and they're racing for over like $30,000. Yes, Jim Halsey won it last year. He is he's on the entry list. 60 pro mods, ladies and gentlemen, are going to attempt the field of 32 cars. A lot of cars are going to go home. We're talking about competition like Melanie Salemi, the winner of the Snowbird Nationals there last year in November at Braden Motorsports Park. We're talking about Jim Halsey, Pro Nitrous champion. Tommy Franklin's down there, heavy hitter in the nitrous world. We've got NHRA stars down there like Stevie, Fast Jackson. We have other champions from other series like Chip King. It is going to be a great time. It is going to be a great time down there. You can catch it on Flow Racing, flowracing.com. Maybe type in promo code MMR. It's not going to get you anything, but maybe they'll wonder where you heard it from. And they'll be like, who's that? But that is definitely one to keep your eye out on. 32 cars for over $30,000 in Pro Mod. All the different combinations, duking it out. Let's see who will be on top. Who do you think? Well, Jim Halsey would be a great pick for sure. I already said I believe in the Competition Plus Power Hour, or either right here before. I'm going to go with Melanie Salemi repeating. She already looked good in testing. I think she will repeat, not as defending champion of this event, but defending champion of the racing on that track, as it were. And she wins the Snowbirds, and she also picks up the U.S. Streetcar Nationals this weekend. I'm going to go with the gal in the side piece to do it again. Who do you think will win down there in Bradenton Motorsports Park? Paul Flynn, he chimes in, says hello. We had him last week. You can catch that episode on YouTube, eventually in podcast form as well. I think that was a good interview, not so much for me, but because of Paul and really getting an inside glimpse to someone that has lived the drag racing life, is living the drag racing life, and is doing it in a different way. Maybe not driving, maybe not tuning, but definitely having a pivotal role in the drag racing world, especially for the Toyota teams, being a NHRA track support engineer. Pat says 60. That's amazing. It is. And it goes to show, to Drag Racing Central's credit, yes, there is a lot of great strength right now to the outlaw 8th Mile Pro Mod world, whether that is Midwest Drag Racing Series, PDRA, the Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association, the NMCA, whoever, wherever they're at. 8th Mile Drag Racing is so strong again in the Pro Mod Door Slammer world. And it is cool to see this many cars coming together for this much money. And you have a lot of people with different combinations. It is great to see. Let's see who comes out on top. With that, Drag Racing Central says King Halsey. He is one tough hombre for sure. I do want to mention briefly that down there in Australia, they did kick off their drag racing season with the new Top Fuel Championship, and very competitive racing down there. Several Top Fuel dragsters, not as many Top Fuel dragsters, obviously, as we have in the States. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. But what you can look out for on MAV TV and on YouTube for the Australians. MAV TV will have a production coming out soon from this particular weekend. Our own Larry Dixon did participate in Top Fuel Down Under. Top Fuel in the United States of America, wow, it is going to be stacked. As many of you have already chimed in, this man, Austin Prock, he will be back behind the wheel, as far as I can tell, full-time in 2022 with Montana Brand and Rocky Mountain Twist Tooling back on board on his Top Fuel dragster. And he has as his tuners Joe Barlam and The Return. Like, no one stays retired in drag racing. Like, no one retires. It doesn't mean anything. Like, how many times has Ricky Smith retired? Don't believe him. He doesn't retire. He just announces it. It's another tour. He comes back with a different car. But Ron Tobler will be doing the tuning along Joe Barlam on that Top Fuel dragster for Austin Prock. What a wild and crazy year I think we're about to have in Top Fuel. You have the return of Austin Prock. We obviously know Brittany Force is going to be there. You got the alliance between Justin Ashley and Antron Brown, and now they're under the Toyota banner along with Steve Torrance. You have Doug Foley with a brand new car that's going to be tuned by Aaron Brooks. You have Buddy Hole stepping up, purchasing his own ride and team, and Tim Wilkerson is going to be tuning that car. And not to mention the likes of like TJ Zizzo and Terry McMillan is going to be back out there for select races. You've got Josh Hart making the full pull, and look at what he did last year. It is going to be a stacked and stellar year in Top Fuel. I suspect what we're about to see in Top Fuel is going to be very similar to what we saw in Funny Car last year. And if you are an NHRA fan, I think we have got a lot to look forward to, because, man, 2022 was competitive. 2021 was competitive across the board, and it looks like 2022 is going to get that much better. Amazing. But it's good to see the kid back behind the wheel. Now, let me say this. when I say he's back, Austin didn't really ever leave. Yes, he might have had to vacate the seat of a top fuel dragster, except for the one time in competition there in Norwalk, Ohio, where he had to fill in for Clay Millican. But he was certainly a part of the team throughout the year. He was never off the JFR roster, if you will. He regularly tested cars for John Force Racing. You actually see that in my footage from the testing at the Texas Motorplex before the Fall Nationals. And he also serviced the blower on Robert Height's car. So he was always out there. He was never got kicked off the team. He wasn't sitting at home. No, he was on the team. He's just back behind the wheel, and that's a good thing to see for sure. Des chimes in and says, hello from Long Island, New York City. Hey, I've been out that way. Thank you for watching, Dennis. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Been out that way, both Long Island and New York City. Was talking with someone today about New York City, actually, that had lived in Utah. Small world, after all. Continuing in drag racing news, Jasmine Salinas. She had a rough ride in testing at Bradenton Motorsports Park. This was Tuesday, and in a 8th mile test passed, you can read this article on competitionplus.com. Bobby Bennett interviews Matt Smith. She had both front forks fail on her bike. And in the article, Matt Smith explains that there was no way to know that there was going to be an impending failure. They just failed. He also brings attention to the size of the tubes. Apparently, the Suzukis are running small tubes, forks, and he has safety concerns that he's already starting to bring up to the NHRA that they need to run bigger tubes, as many of the other bikes are, and that the horsepower and the torque and the speeds at which these bikes are going at, the small tubes present a safety concern. And if there was no sign that these things were going to fail and they failed out of nowhere, that is certainly not good. And as Matt Smith said, it's good that what did transpire happened, and it was only an 8th mile pass. It was a planned shutoff, and it wasn't the full quarter mile run. He said concerning Jasmine, though, she was all right. She will be mending in California. But prior to that, and the passes that had been made, they were some of the best passes she had made in her entire career, apparently. So looking forward to Jasmine being back out there with Matt Smith Racing, Scrappers Racing partnering with them, and her performing the best she ever has in the world of pro stock motorcycle. Jake chimes in and says, hello, Lee. Always glad to tune in. Thank you for watching, Jake. Appreciate that. Hey, that's another guy we've had come on the show and interview. You can catch his interview. It was the 50th episode, actually. I just uploaded it yesterday. You can listen to the podcast, even on Spotify. What about Tony Stewart drivers, Leah, Matt, new team? Though that is true. We already talked about it, Big G, but they are definitely going to be players. How quickly can they get up to speed? And as we were talking earlier with Top Fuel, Leah and that team, certainly they're going to be a threat. Top Fuel is going to be stacked for sure. Now, what's going to be interesting, and Darren Williams pointed this out to me, American Hot Rod Entertainment, well, we're not going to have Tony at Pomona, at least on Sunday. Remember, he's got to do broadcast duties for the Daytona 500. Also, I agree with Darren, as we had him on American Hot Rod Entertainment about 2 weeks ago in the YouTube roundup with Drag Racing Central, pack Pomona. But it may be more challenging than ever before. The last time we were there, as I recall, there were no requirements for the vaccine, and you were not expected to wear a mask. But if you look on NHRA.com, and you scroll all the way, well, kind of to the bottom, they're expecting you to have to enter to show proof of like a negative test or vaccination, and people are expected to wear masks. So what is that going to do to the attendance for the Winter Nationals? Obviously, that suffered during the summer months. The crowd was not that great for the finals. Will Pomona at the Fairplex get hit again because of COVID regulations there in LA County? It remains to be seen. I've even got to figure out for media, for teams and drivers, what does that mean? Are we under the same stipulations as well? I think we should be. But if not, why have the differences? It's a strange world we're living in right now, and it does at times even affect the world of motorsports. So this is one question I definitely have for John Charbonneau later in just a few minutes and moments. We'll have him on the show. He is in the waiting room, but I'm going to bring up this graphic card that I created. There's the tracks on the Camping World 2022 Tour. Where are you going to attend a race this year? It looks like already I will be at testing for the NHRA there at Wild Horse Pass, go on over to Pomona and catch that race, and then back to Wild Horse Pass. Where will you attend a race, though? Where are you going to go? Somewhere brand new, possibly, this year? Is that on your schedule, or are you going to the tried and true national event, whatever that may be? For me, my tried and true national event, I can no longer go there. It's Atlanta Dragway, and it's gone. May it rest in peace. So I guess now my home drag strip has become ZMAX Dragway concerning national events. Maybe I'll take it, though, as Richmond. I do love what Tommy Franklin has got going on up there at Virginia Motorsports Park, and it would be great to have Nitro drag racing back there once again. So as we wind down this portion of some drag racing news, I cannot fail to mention again, as I'm going to be so closely associated with this brand this year, but Chris Graves and his Funny Car Chaos. I'll be doing the pit reporter duties and some work on editing and getting some material up on the YouTube. Well, we are continuing to get closer and closer to the biggest funny car race that the world has seen there at Texas Motorplex. The Funny Car Classic 2.0, the second annual event, and that is going to be taking place at the end of March. You can already get your tickets for that event. You must see it. If you are a drag racing fan, you need to go to Texas. Go west. Go west. Even if you're already beyond that, go west to Texas and see what is in store. Already, 50 funny cars have been entered of various types. We're talking about a nitrous funny car. We're talking about turbo funny car. We're talking about big show funny car, nostalgia nitro, nostalgia alcohol, modern day alcohol. It's all going to be there. Matter of fact, I saw this post that of a photo we'll see later of a jet dragster that Mr. John Charbonneau took. Well, that gentleman has purchased now a funny car, jet car, okay? And Chris was even asked online on Facebook, hey, can a jet funny car enter into the regular Funny Car Chaos event? And guess what Chris said? In chaos fashion, the run what you brung scenario, he's like, it's a funny car. Why not? So maybe we'll see a funny car line up against a nitro big show car. Like drag racing dream. Finally, maybe that will happen at the Motorplex this March. I just love what's going on with Funny Car Chaos. But also, you can expect coming soon, along with the voice of Funny Car Chaos, Dave, great announcer with Funny Car Chaos. The guy always wears a straw hat. Yeah, that guy. You've seen him on YouTube on the Funny Car Chaos. You've heard his voice over the tower and track PAs. Him, myself, we are going to be firing up soon Chaos Live once again. So you'll be able to hear all the upcoming news of the world of Funny Car Chaos and get to know that brand and the drivers therein of that world. And what a great group of guys they have got over there, with big names coming in and out in what will be a great season. Also, the third race of the year was announced. It will be in Lufkin, Texas at Pine Valley Raceway for the third event for the Funny Car Chaos Championship season. So a lot of great things are happening over there. The Texas Motorplex kicking it off big, like Super Bowl of the year, and then on to the State Capitol Raceway, Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the Funny Car Chaos Cajun Nationals, a Chaos Cajun Nationals, like the first time Nitro is going to be at that track since like the Cajun National days. They're even going to have 2 top fuel dragsters there to match race. That's going to be stellar. So all I got to say, if you love drag racing, you need to catch a Funny Car Chaos event. So very quickly, a few more comments, and then we're going to bring Mr. Charbonneau on. Englishtown was my track. May the drag racing of it rest in peace. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I feel your pain. American Hot Rod Entertainment. We need to get Bucky Austin to bring that Bardall 69 Camaro to FCC and whoop up on those Midwest nostalgia funny car guys. Hey, would love to see it. But American Hot Rod Entertainment, remember, everybody thought Dale had it, but Kyle Smith in the alcohol burner got Dale in the nitro burner. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, we're going to go ahead and get Mr. Charbonneau on. So right after this break, we will have him on and we'll talk to him about, well, being a fan of drag racing. This word from Nhra Soap Company. Nhra Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils-infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Nhra Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean. John, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, James?
Yes, we certainly can. Look, good to have you on, John. Thank you for your time. As I told everybody, this show is way more than just having big name drivers on, but it's all the stories in drag racing. And I think you've got a great story in drag racing from the times I've bumped into you and seen your photos on whatever drag racing group it might be on Facebook. So let me dive in right here. Give us the count. Where do you stand on national events right now? Have you got near that 450 mark yet?
No, not 450. We're with all the events combined, I'm well over 450, including national, divisional, chaos events, local events. Like I told you previously, I first started in 1969 at Colchester, Connecticut. My older brother Norman brought me there, and there was a 16 funny car show there. Jungle Jim was there, Color Me Gone, all the big names. Tickle Me Pink. Bygone days, unfortunately.
Definitely bygone days. I love what Chris is doing. He's bringing some of that flair back for sure. And look, you mentioned, Color Me Gone, and here's one of your photos. I mean, how long ago is this, man? Give us the date. Give us the story of this one.
That was 1969. That was my first event in Colchester, like I told you before. And, I heard you talking about Funny Car Chaos. I went to the Texas Motorplex last year.
That's right, you did. Saw you there, and well, I'll tell you what. Let's go through the photos right now. Let's talk about the great altered run between Warwagon and Hartman. And man, what again? I know you say amateur photographer. I think you're being very modest for yourself. That is a great photo of those two cars running. Uh-oh, I lost you, John. See, hang on.
Could you speak up a little bit, James? I'm having a hard time hearing.
All right, we got you back. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. We got you back. But yeah, man, look, this photo, spectacular photo, and what a great moment in time to have these two powerful altereds doing their thing. That was such a cool thing to see. What was your look through the camera while you were there at the Motorplex?
It was just unbelievable. The fuel altereds, haven't seen those in years, and two of the best in the business right there.
For sure. Again, great photo, man. But you definitely were able to capture some carnage. Poor old Alan Millendorf. I got to get that right before the race this March. Yeah, he had a rough weekend, and you captured it.
Yeah, that was a kind of a lucky shot, I'd say myself, but glad I could capture it and share it with everybody.
Yes, definitely a great shot, man. He had a good-looking car, and hey, anytime any flames involved, it definitely looks spectacular. But this one's a lot better far as the flames for Del Worsham. They're coming out the right way. Great night shot here. I imagine this is qualifying, or is it eliminations?
No, that was qualifying. Panning the shot down the track and finally got a stable shot, and it came out pretty good, I thought.
Definitely came out really good. What did you think on Dell's performance that weekend? Did you think he had it sewed up? It certainly looked like it. It was kind of a shock for him to
I
lose
thought
it.
he did. He was running fantastic that weekend. And Dell's a great guy, good guy to talk with. Been around a long time.
He is a great guy. Dell, it's funny, you go to the track enough, just like you have and myself, people get to know you. And it's funny how there are those that they know you, and they just like don't acknowledge it. And Dale is not one of those guys. Like he'll talk with you, he'll chat with you. Sometimes he's even the first to say something to you over you to him. So yeah, Dale is certainly a great guy. So jet car action,
Yep.
Jet Dragster here.
Yeah, that was a good shot. The flames bring it out, obviously.
Yes.
The lighting was perfect there, and got a good shot of that one.
Definitely a good shot of a Jet Dragster. And this is the guy that I said earlier. He now has a Jet funny car as well. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see a Jet funny car in FCC and eliminations and not just for show. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I already got my tickets for this coming Chaos in Texas.
Boom. Well, there you go. And look, everybody, be like John and get your tickets. Get your tickets
Great
and
show.
plan on being there.
You won't regret it. Trust me.
No, you won't. I love what Chris did last year. It's going to be even bigger and better for Funny Car Chaos this year. And no telling what big names will come out. I've already been texting people like, come on, Cruz Petragon. Come on, Bobby Bodie. Come on, Shane Bellamy. Come on. Everybody needs to come out to Funny Car Chaos if they've got a funny car. It was definitely a great show. And it's wonderful that an independent event like that got so much attention and has continued to ripple through the drag racing world to even today and back to it. It's very cool.
You know what I think also, Jim? The crowds weren't that big last year there, but I think this year, after, what everybody's talking about, how great of a show it was, I think it's going to be a packed house.
I agree. The, still kind of really, really close to just opening up after COVID and people getting, used to things. But I don't think people quite understood what was going to happen. But after it did happen and the historical significance of it, yes, I think a lot of people in the drag racing world were like, oh, I should not have missed that.
And they were going till almost 2:00 in the morning. It was crazy.
Yes, it was wild. It was a spectacular event for sure. Well, again, you go to several national events. So what's on the docket this year? How many national events? What are you thinking?
Well, more than definitely Epping and Reading, both those definites. I want to try and get out to Denver again this year. That just the scenery out there is fantastic. The track they have night qualifying, which is a plus. And it's a huge crowd this past year. Sonoma and Pomona for the finals.
Awesome, stellar. Of the tracks that are on the current schedule, is there any one that you have not been to, or have you marked them all off the list?
Northwest Nationals.
Northwest Nationals. I have not been there myself either, so that's definitely on my bucket list. I got to get out the Pacific Northwest. There you go, man.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't rain.
Right. Bingo. So speaking of NHRA and national events, you take your camera along with you there and get some great photos. I want to bring up this one that you captured of Cruz striking the wall. Man, caught it at the right moment.
Yeah, I was at the top end, and I like taking photos up at the top end because you see so many from the starting line. You got a million photographers up there, and at the end of the track, nobody's in the way, and you never know what you're gonna get. So I was just panning along, and I got lucky getting that shot.
Yeah, great shot, man. And yeah, I know I've got to apologize. Every now and then I've been in your way too on the line, filming a burnout or getting a photo for some team I'm working for. And when I was wearing my big Strutmaster shirt, and it's very noticeable, as large as I am, that there's Monday Morning Racer like sticking out like a sore thumb. But no, man, great shots whether they're at the line and as you like to say, someone lighting up the hides. And great shot there of Cruz. Great shot here of Matt at night. Header flames fully lit, looking right with the proper color. Where was that one
That was
taken?
Grove.
Well, it being Maple Grove, I'm sure he laid down a number for sure. That track is so good with such good air.
James, you talk about Maple Grove. One of the best events I went there was 1989. When Shirley and Mato ran the first side-by-side 4-second run.
You see, and you have been able to experience so many cool moments. If I remember correctly, Arizona, you mentioned you were there when Oswald broke the record. Is that correct?
1982 at the Summer Nationals.
Right. And, I mean, that record for Garlits had lasted
7 years.
Just an imaginable long time. And Oswald and the Candies and Hughes Dragster, they go out there and they break it. And to be there for that moment, I mean, as you see, many, many years on down the road, it sticks out in your mind. So,
and there's other things I think about too. Like I've been to although I didn't know it, the last drag race at Englishtown and the last drag race in Montreal. And Montreal was one of my favorite tracks.
Look at that, man! A lot of laughs. You got Englishtown, you got Montreal, and you also got Atlanta Dragway because you were there for that one. So, yeah, man, cool deal that you were able to get those laughs. I know it's sad, Atlanta was my home event. It's definitely sad to experience that, but we've got the memories, and they were great places. And so much history to Englishtown too. Wow, so much history.
Englishtown was one of my favorite tracks. It was the hottest race that you'd ever go to, but I enjoyed every minute of it.
So obviously a lot of big events like Funny Car Chaos with the Funny Car Classic, national events, but you do get some shots at local scenes and nostalgia scenes and other types of races. Like, I don't know who this guy is. You may be able to give me the whole story, but yeah, he's having a rough day.
Yeah, that was up at New Oxford Dragway in Maine. One of the cooling lines let go and water just spurted out underneath the vet, and he actually took out the Christmas tree.
Oh,
it was quite the sight.
Oh man. Okay. Well, let's move on to one that's a bit more happy of a subject. Who doesn't love a burnout? And it's a front engine dragster. So obviously this is taken at Epping. Under what circumstances? Is this a national event or a nostalgia event?
No, that was a national event. That was a nostalgia event. I believe that was 2020. As you can see, there were masks in the background, and it wasn't a very big crowd, but they put on a good show.
The fans at Epping are some of the best fans, I think, across the whole tour. They seem to just love their drag racing. And the times I've been to Epping, which were 2019 and 2021, or 2020 and 2021. Anyway, I noticed, I'm like, wow, these people love their NHRA drag racing. I mean, it's not the biggest facility, but man, they turn out and they support it, and it has this old school vibe to it. It's such a cool place.
Yeah, that track has got so much history. It's all the big names have been there in the early 70s. Then they went IHRA for a while, and they finally got their first national event from NHRA in 2013, I believe.
Been a great place to go ever since. I hope one day it may have the throwback race, kind of like NASCAR does. I hope they do it there. I'd love to see that. So This is one of my favorite nostalgia funny car bodies, period, out there. Great shot at speed. Give us the down low on this one. Where are you standing from, and where's
That
that?
was I was actually at the finish line. That was Lebanon Valley, um, and it just came out perfect, I thought.
Yes, man, that is a great photo. It's up on the tire, and you got a little haze out of the headers, and just a little air, popping up the hatch. No, that is a great looking shot. Beautiful car too. Do you
Oh yeah.
happen to know whose car that is?
Oh, the name escapes me right now. Sorry, James.
Oh, no, no problem, man. No problem, man. Hey, we can't remember them all. Well, look, last photo I've got from you. Thank you for sending some along so we can share and appreciate your great work and also what you've done yourself in documenting the sport. Wow, what a great photo back from the day. Orange Baron, look at that.
Yeah, there was Gary Burgeon's car. There was 82 Summer Nationals, and yeah, I like the. I had a decent camera. I actually borrowed a camera for that race. It was my brother-in-law's Minolta that I used, but all the pictures from that race came out really nice.
All right, John, I know that we're running out of time with you. I definitely want you to be able to relax and recuperate from the physical therapy that you had earlier today. But look, man, I'm going to put the camera on you and just you give your pitch on why somebody should attend a NHRA national event.
Well, for those who have never been, I mean, you can't go wrong at an NHRA event. The sounds, the sights, every track is different. Every track has its own subtleties. The scenery, the fans. Uh, you got to experience it at least once in your life.
Boom. There we go. Well, John, look, thank you for sharing briefly a little bit of your story, and you keep up the good work. And I look forward to seeing you at whatever national event that I'm at and you're at as well.
Well, we'll see you in Texas. How's that?
Bingo. Texas it is.
All right. Take care, James. Thanks for
Thank you,
having
man. Thank you. Take
me. All
care.
right.
Folks, John Charbonneau. Look, if you are not in drag racing groups, he shares a lot of his photos to drag racing groups on Facebook, and he's done a great job of just documenting in his own way the sport. Again, some great photos that he shared with us tonight of the funny car scene and catching that photo of Cruz Petragon and having that angle and the photos he got at Funny Car Chaos. So give him a follow. He doesn't have a page, but maybe if you send him a friend request, he might let you be a friend and you can follow along. But does some great work in his own right out there in the world of drag racing. And as I said, Between the Slicks is a show that I've wanted to showcase for many other reasons than just drivers. I think there's so many other stories out there than just drivers alone. There are stories for crew members, there's stories for tuners, there's stories for promoters, there's stories with sponsors, there's stories with you, the fans. I looked at it like this: the NFL Films, even, ladies and gentlemen, they have an episode where they take like the top 10 greatest fans and they showcase who they are and why they do what they do. And when I say fans on like NFL Films, we're talking about like they're not just wearing the cheese head. No, it's the guy who wears like the bishop hat, at Green Bay and wears the robe, and the people of the black hole with the now Las Vegas Raiders. Those individuals, they found them, those well-known fans, and interviewed them and talked to them and gave them their time in the limelight. And I hope I can still do that right here right here on Between the Slicks. Showcase some of the stories of the great fans, the fans that have went beyond and love the sport so much that they take vacations to it. They're regularly going to national events. Like I brought up that photo earlier, and I'll bring it up again. I shared this photo of the tracks onto my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook. Also on YouTube, splitting the photo up because you can only do one by one. And I asked folks, hey, where do you plan on attending? And I was surprised at the engagement that I got. And many people, it was not just one national event. I was surprised by that. If you look into the comments section on Facebook, the response was often two or more. There were very few people stating they were going to attend one national event. And I thought that was strange, honestly, because growing up, I only went to one national event and mainly went on Friday for Friday qualifying because there was that many more cars and theoretically more passes. And that was at Atlanta Dragway for the Southern Nationals. But most people chimed in, and I would say on average, people were expecting to attend at least 3 national events. I think that says volumes to the fan base that is out there for the NHRA. And it's certainly not dead. It's alive. And I think it's alive and well. Also, to John's credit, and I've got to say, look, he's already got his tickets for Funny Car Chaos. And he lives in the Northeast. I believe it's New Hampshire. And yeah, he's going to fly from that part of the world, New England, down to Texas to go to an outlaw funny car event. That's how big and how spectacular it was last year. And I'm not expecting anything different this year, except for it to be even better. I'm telling you, drag racing fan, you need to get there. Let me go to the let me go to the comment section. Drag Racing Central says it's dead. It died when it went 1,000 foot. Well, he's being facetious. I know that with Drag Racing Central. It did not. No, it definitely did not. In fact, I think even though there is something to the quarter mile, I will give folks that. I can remember those quarter mile days. I was in the stand. It was impressive. But at this point we're at now, what they're doing in the 1,000 foot mark, if you don't see it as impressive, you're just honestly dense. I don't mean to be rude, but you have people tuning a nitro car faster and quicker than they ever have been, and it's 320 feet less than what it was. That is insane. That is insane. Right. I mean, how can you not appreciate that? How can you not appreciate that? I mean, it's got to defy physics almost. Someone explain it. Someone explain it. KS, he says, Englishtown was a big loss to New England. I completely agree, man. And I would say Atlanta, I know a lot of people are going to think, oh, we'll automatically go to ZMAX. And that's true. But that's very handy for an individual like me. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, right below Greenville, South Carolina, technically right below Clemson, where the Clemson Tigers are. The Clemson University is Clemson Tigers, if you're familiar with college football. So going to ZMAX Dragway is about the same distance as it was going to Atlanta Dragway. No big deal. But if you were a fan that lived in Alabama, losing Atlanta Dragway is a big deal. If you were a fan in like Mississippi, losing Atlanta Dragway is a big deal. So it did impact the market here. But yes, Englishtown not holding drag racing anymore, a big hit to the area. I firmly agree that it was a big hit. And look, that's also, folks, if you can support Epping, go check out Epping. I highly recommend Epping. They do such a great job. They do such a great job. Big G, like to see you interview Richard Hartman. Yeah, I would like to have Richard on here. Technically, there is an interview. It's me on Competition Plus Power Hour, along with my co-host Sam Smith. We did have Richard on after his record-setting run. We did have him on. So that is in the archives on Competition Plus TV on YouTube. You can check that out. So there is that. But yeah, we'll have to have him on one day and talk to him about tuning, the Hartman family, everything drag racing right here on Between the Slicks. Fuel alters with modern nitro technology. You know, a lot of people have said that. Like, for example, what the photo John Charbonneau took of, and also on Monday Morning Racer, you can see footage of the first 300-mile-per-hour overpass by a fuel altered that Richard Hartman did. And then the next day, they paired up once again, and Warwagon actually went a tick faster. No, excuse me. I caught the first 4-second run. Excuse me, not the first 300 over. But then I did catch Warwagon actually going a little bit faster than Richard Hartman's fuel altered there, tuned by Tim Wilkerson, along with Tim Wilkerson. Well, it would be interesting to see fuel alters with that modern flair participate. I think there could be something of an outlaw variety there. Maybe see them in a 4, 6, 8 race series around the country, or an exhibition class at least. That could be a neat thing to see. I think if we move back towards funny cars having a more stock appearance, funny cars will still dominate. There's just something about a funny car. Funny cars are such great parts of this sport. They bring so many things to the table in one modified, wicked package. But it would be cool to see a modern day nitro fuel altered series. But remember, Drag Racing Central, and remember everyone else out there, that Funny Car Chaos, along with Nitro Chaos, well, in Nitro Chaos, if you're running 80% and above Nitro, you can run anything you want. So bring a modern day fuel altered and run a nostalgia fuel altered, or a funny car, or an injected Nitro car, or a top fuel dragster. We could definitely see that play out at one of the Nitro Chaos events. Dave W. You can check him out on YouTube. Uploads a lot. I don't know. If you have to keep trying to convince people your product isn't dead, it's probably dead. Well, no. See, dead is a strong word. And that's my issue, honestly, with it. People use dead, and they're wrong. Because if it's dead, we would have no NHRA national events whatsoever. We would have no TV broadcasts that have occurred the top ratings for the NHRA ever. Dead is too strong of a word. If you want to say decreased, we can say that possibly. I think that would even be inaccurate at the moment. But dead is so strong, and it gets thrown around. People say, oh, NASCAR's dead. Daytona 500 sold out. And it looks like the race at the Coliseum is going to do well. People want to throw out, oh, drag racing's dead. You just had 60 pro mods enter into Bradenton Motorsports Park. Again, when people throw out, oh, it's dead, what really annoys me about that is you are using a word that implies something you must not understand at all. And they're not looking at what has happened and transpired in that particular sport, in this case, drag racing. Because we saw great drag racing at the NHRA level. We see outlaw pro mod 8th mile drag racing doing exceptionally well. We see events like Funny Car Chaos. Look, you have Chris Graves. He's doing this event again at Funny Car Chaos, and they've already got 50 cars entered. 50. They're expecting more. Last year was like 68 funny cars. I'm expecting to hit 72, 78, if not 80 funny cars. I don't even know if there's really that many in the country. Who knows? But dead is such a strong word. That's what really annoys me when people on social media say, oh, this is dead, whatever it is. I'm like, well, apparently it's not. You know what's dead? Like the Roman Empire. That's dead. That's dead. It's gone. It's gone. And when it comes to motorsports, wow, what is dead? Oh, ASA. ASA is dead. Loved ASA racing out there in the Midwest. It's dead. It's gone. You can't even say IHRA is dead. Its professional categories may be dead, but it still has itself as a sanctioning body, also providing certifications and providing insurance and the bracket program. IHRA is not dead. It may be on life support, but it's not dead. Big G, he says, I live in Anderson, South Carolina. God bless you. God bless you. No. Like to see Bruton Smith build NHRA track back down our way. Well, I know this much, Big G. I kind of put out there as a gotcha meme, an April Fool's joke. It literally was April Fool's, that Bruton Smith bought Atlanta Dragway. I did that. I caught some flack for it, but I thought it was going to be fun. And I also just expressed to people, hey, this is my home national event, and it's going to be sad to see it go away. And it was right before the event took place. So it was fitting, and it got some attention, right or wrong, but it was definitely something that I was saying, hey, Bruton Smith, you are our last hope for Atlanta. Well, obviously he didn't purchase it, but I do want to remind you that when it comes to drag racing, it does happen in Georgia at another track. Many drag strips, obviously, but there is a Bruton Smith owned track that has drag racing in Georgia, and that's Atlanta Motor Speedway. They would have drag races, test and tunes. I think that Southeast Gassers even did an exhibition race there on pit road, which definitely harkens back to the old school days of drag racing my dad talks about in the Gasser days with Gene Cromer, of going and racing on the pit road of Charlotte Motor Speedway. But Atlanta Motor Speedway did have, and you also have people already asking, are they going to have it again, the drag racing on pit road there, Atlanta Motor Speedway. Okay, there's hope. And this is why I say there's hope. Because I don't think the Atlanta market, I don't think it's wise to just let it go. If I'm the NHRA, I'm going to talk to Bruton. I'm going to talk to Marcus. We're going to try to figure something out, okay, to have another drag strip in that market, a historic market for drag racing, and in particular the NHRA. Remember, they put out renderings of Atlanta Motor Speedway being reconfigured, which has happened. They repaved it, they reconfigured it, added some banking, did this, did that, and we've got a NASCAR race coming up on a freshly paved and reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway. But that rendering they showed, it showcased more than a speedway. It showcased a casino. It showcased a theme park with like roller coasters. Well, why not put in a drag strip? So, all I'm saying, and I need to do that video, I've talked about doing that video, what if drag racing back in the Atlanta area, NHRA national event-wise, at Atlanta Motor Speedway with an adjacent drag strip, just like ZMAX, Las Vegas, and Bristol. I'd take it. I would take it. Thunder Valley one day. KS talking about getting to the Bristol there. I assume you're talking about Bristol. Bandamere kind of likes to talk about Thunder Valley, Thunder Mountain too. Thunder Valley gets used a lot, but yes, definitely with Bristol. Definitely with Bristol. Rest in peace, ASA. Yes. Rest in peace, Goodies Dash Series. Yes. Rest in peace, a lot of other racing series. Rest in peace to the professional side of IHRA. Yes, it's sad. I loved ASA. To talk a little bit about some other motorsports, man, ASA was so cool. I loved those cars. It was such a great platform for people to come up the ranks in racing and get to the cup level of NASCAR. Such greats as, Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. I'm sure that I'm not naming everyone. Goodies Dash Series. Gosh, I loved watching those cars just, high strung, running around Daytona and tearing up the whole field. And then yet they would go run at Lanier Speedway in Georgia. So they would do the high banks of Daytona, and then they would go to the local short tracks and represent NASCAR. That was cool. That was definitely cool. And the IHRA, I definitely think at one time the IHRA had a better show than NHRA. They might not have had the fastest and quickest top fuel dragsters, though I will say at one time I do think the top alcohol guys of IHRA were just as competitive, if not more competitive, than the NHRA guys. But they also always had a love for Pro Mod and really built Pro Mod to be what it can be today. And you were able to see those great cars as well. Saw my first IHRA national event in Gillum, Louisiana, at what was Red River Raceway. Actually won a junior dragster race there myself too, but loved the IHRA national events. And I will say that when the IHRA did have their professional categories running around North America, NHRA had a better show then. I definitely think with what the Texas Motorplex did with the Stampede of Speed, we may very well see the NHRA do that elsewhere, and I definitely think that needs to happen. But yes, IHRA, professional categories, rest in peace. Destroyer 1320. Hey, Lee. Hey, Destroyer 1320. Hope you're doing well. Guys, go check out his channel when you get a chance. He's got a YouTube channel, Destroyer 1320. Also has a very innovative product for your Challenger. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Destroyer 1320. Feel free to drop a link in as well. KS says, yes, Tennessee. Good man. Get there. David W. And we'll end on this, ladies and gentlemen. IHRA had 60 Pro Mods show up, 40 Mountain Motor Pro stocks too. Man, yeah, it was great times. It was great times. It was good times. And we do get to see some of that. Like, I love what Bradenton Motorsports Park and some of these outlaw, and you know, we use outlaw because they're not NHRA, but that doesn't mean they're outlaw. It's not like they're unsafe, but these non-NHRA events, the Snowbirds, the U.S. Streetcar Nationals, the Super Streetcar Nationals out there in Las Vegas, those events, man, they have a big turnout. They have a big following, and they're great events in their own right. Now, the 40 Mountain Motor Pro stocks, that's an issue right now. I hope that is turned around, but Mountain Motor Pro stock guys have got to do that their own selves. There's plenty of Mountain Motor cars. They're just not going out and racing them. There could be full fields and people going home in PDRA. They just need to show up. There could be full fields and people going home for a 16-car event at an NHRA exhibition race, but they need to get their head together and they need to agree on something and they need to move forward. I hope it happens. I love Mountain Motor Pro stock. Get it together, guys. Love you all. Love you all. Big G. We'll end with this. I'm sorry. I lied. I totally agree on IHRA. Was awesome. I agree, man. With all that said, though, I think drag racing is doing pretty doggone well. I saw a post put out on Dragzine that says, you know, we might need to really look at it and realize that we're probably living in some of the best days of drag racing. And as Bobby Bennett always loves to point out, like, guys, and we have so much on demand, whether it's YouTube or, yes, the live national events. Like, we're not waiting for National Dragster to come out to read about a race that happened 2 months ago. We're living in some pretty good days of drag racing. To each and every one of you, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Between the Slicks with John Charbonneau, super fan of NHRA drag racing and drag racing in general, and also amateur photographer. Took a look at a few of his snaps as he has documented the sport for several years. And we will end with this. I lied again. I'm sorry. Love the Chaos Series last season. Made me a fan. We'll be on the lookout this year as well, man. All right, guys, until next time, thank you for saying great show. I hope you all have a great week. Don't know who is going to be here next week. We'll find somebody. We'll talk drag racing next time with the news and guest coming up on Between the Slicks. Darth Trader 1. Good show, Lee. Thank you, sir. I like the name, Darth Trader 1. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal